So we have our sky full of beautiful colors and stars that we did last week or over the week on our YouTube video. And now we're going to add some planets. Last time, if you remember, our planets had some color differentiation on the surface, some like little atmosphere. I don't like that little no symbol. Why is that no symbol popping up? There we go. So we had spheres that we filled in with a color, and then we added another color to make like little clouds or little texture differences. And then we put a big old shadow over most of it to get that feeling of 3D and darkness of space. We're going to do that all again today, and then we're going to learn how to put a ring around it like it was Saturn or some kind of planet with some rings. So let's go back to my sky here. I'm going to get a new layer. Call this one planets. And I need to make a circle. We have two ways to do that. One of them is just by using, oh, there's Mickey, let's let her in. One of them is just using the ellipse tool from our pull down menu when I have my pen tool selected. The other one is we can get our snap grid and move it into place. And then we can go ahead and draw around that like stencil or snap grid. Oh, Orlando. We haven't seen Orlando in a few weeks.
Yeah.
How you been?
Hello.
Hello.
So anyway, you know how to draw a circle. We're going to go ahead and draw that circle for this planet in here. I'm going to use my snap grid on my art program.
Can we do that on the computer?
If you have this program, it's called FireAlpaca. It's free to download.
Now just use Canvas.
I've never used Canvas, but if you know how to use it, great. I'm going to choose.
Yeah, it's an art app.
Oh, okay. I'm going to choose a color that's different from the colors that I used in my sky. So I used a lot of purples and pinks in my sky. I'm going to use yellow for my planet and just draw, whoops, not with that. Draw a circle with my pen tool.
Oh, hey, this class is almost over. I have something I want to show you guys.
Okay. I'm going to change my paint bucket to layer to make sure it fills up only what's on my layer. And I'm going to pause there a moment just to let you figure that part out.
So how do I move my circle? Do I just put the pen on it to move it?
The dot. There's a dot up at the top here.
Oh, hit the dot. Yeah,
and that'll.
Okay. Ah, got it. Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna make a planet.
You know what? Actually, I'm gonna leave this meeting for a while, but I'll be back.
All right. Okay. See you when you get back.
All right, filling in the planet. Okay, that didn't work. I have to take the grid off to fill it in, right?
Yes, you have to take your grid off and then change your paint bucket to layer.
Off, bucket, layer. All right, so I have the same problem I had before, and you helped me to undo that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stripe around it, and I think I had to do my expander.
Yes, your expand pixels up here on your.
Oh yeah, I have it at 0. We don't want it at 0.
We want it at least at 1.
Yeah. Now what? Still didn't work.
You can put on your anti-aliasing, however you pronounce that one.
It's on.
It's on. Okay. You can expand by more pixels.
I'm expanding by 3.
Betsy.
Yeah.
You want me to invite some people or no?
To this drawing class? Yeah, you can invite your friends.
Okay, let me just text them.
just let them know that it is a computer art program. So if they don't have that capability, they might have trouble following along.
Okay, I'm
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen for a minute and show you what's going on, and maybe you can find what I'm doing wrong. I cannot share. Oh, you're unsharing now.
Yeah.
Now I can share. Share that. Did I share it?
Yes, it is sharing.
Okay, so I'm going to Control Z.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on. It's not Control Z. Come on back over there.
Ah,
All
I think
right.
I see the problem. It
All
might
right.
be that you did your outline with an airbrush. When you changed your pencil tool, what is it set to?
Should I go to pen or pencil?
Yeah, it should be pen, so that's a sharp edge, and then the paint bucket can fill right up to it, so you won't get that haze.
Still worked. Still.
I mean, your outline itself is fuzzy, so it's stopping at one of the pixels of the airbrush where it's fading. So yeah, you have to go all the way back and redraw.
All right,
your circle.
I'm gonna stop sharing. That was the issue. So okay.
That's the issue. Yep.
Stop sharing. How do I stop sharing? Stop share.
All
Oops.
right, I'll go back to mine.
Now I want to go slow because I have to do it all over again.
Sure. I can even do them with you. I'm going to get my circle
Pen.
grid. Pen.
Circle grid. Draw circle with a pen.
And turn it off.
Off.
Then we want to fill it up with the paint bucket, which should already be set to layer, and expand pixel, and voila. Whoops.
Oops.
Voila. There we go.
All right.
Okay, then we're going to choose the actual color that we want the planet. So I was just doing that to make sure that I could see where it's going. But if I want to change it now to a lighter blue or something like that, a fun way to do it is you hold down Control U. What was that, Orlando?
They cannot join because they don't have a computer.
Okay. Well, I hope they'll come by the studio once we open the studio up again, and
because we'll have computers right there.
And then we'll have computers that everybody can use. So I'm going to turn my planet more earthy blue. I found this tool by hitting Control U, or else you can also find it if you go up to Filter, and there it is, the second one, Hue. Hue is another word for color. When we think of red, green, blue, we're talking about the hue. So you can slide that around until you find a color that fits really nicely with your sky, or else pops out from your sky. That's up to you. I'm going to go on that one, say okay. And then let me move my zoom window here so you can see my layers. I'm going to make a new layer, or no, excuse me. I'm going to protect the pixels of this layer by hitting Protect Alpha, that first little checkbox. What that should do is if I use my pen and try to draw, it only draws on my circle. If I don't have that on, then you can see it draws all over. So I want to protect my drawing, protect my pixels, and get my airbrush. So I just look in my brush settings over here and I find my airbrush, and I'm just going to squiggle on some little clouds, some little land masses, whatever you want. I don't like that purple, it's too close to my sky color. I'm gonna get a greener. You're going to just put some blobs, mostly on the edges, because as we've seen before, most of the shadow goes in the center. Maybe have some darker blobs here, lighter blobs there. Just so your planet has a little bit of variation. After that, I'm going to make a new layer and call that one shadow. I'm still on my airbrush, but I want to make this circle almost as big as my planet. So I'm up to 240 on my brush size down here. Normally we're working at like 10 or 12. I'm all the way up at like 240. You can even just type it right in the box there. Select a color from your sky. It can be from anywhere around your planet, but the darker the color, the better it works. So I'm going to try to get the darkest color I can from my purples. And I'm going to start spraying on the inside of my planet. Cover most of it up so that there's only a little crescent on one side. The brighter side of my sky is over on the right side, so that's why I chose to put my crescent on my right side.
Did you protect alpha on that one or not?
No, I'm not protecting alpha on that
Okay,
one.
so it's going out on the, it's
Yep.
actually, yeah, okay.
Yep, it's going to bleed right off into the sky. We're going to fix that in a minute. And then we're going to go ahead and get a lighter color from our sky, maybe like this light purple. And very, very lightly, I'm just going to spray a little on this side for some reflected light. And then I'm going to click the clipping mode and it's going to pop right onto my planet. That's how it was before. Clipping, that one in the middle, makes it pop right onto my planet. And then to make this light side stand out even more, I'm going to add one more layer, and this is going to be our favorite effects layer, the glow layer, which we set on overlay. Glow on overlay. And we use pure white, but I'm going to shrink down my airbrush so we're in the 50s somewhere. You can also see that my opacity, the bar that's right beneath it, is set fairly low, like at 20s or 30s. So that we don't, if I keep it at 100, it just goes like, pow, that's too much. So I want to take it down a bit and be able to just add some glow on the edge of my planet. Not all over the edge, just on one spot. It'll go off into space a little bit. Make that side extra bright. You can put a little bit on the reflected side if you want, but not much. I'll show you the before and the after. Sometimes when you're drawing, it doesn't look like you're doing anything, but then when you click it off and you go, there's before, there's after, whoa, that is a pretty big difference. Let's say I don't like where I put my planet. And I kind of wish it was over here. Whoops! What happened to all my effects? It's only the one layer. I'm going to undo that. Because they're on 3 different layers, if I want to move it, I need to hold down the Shift key and make sure that all 3 are blue. And then when I move it, everything moves. So maybe I want to put that planet down here instead.
Ah. I think I better use the move tool. Okay, now mine is kind of, it's not moving smoothly. It feels like it's still got a grid on it of some kind.
Some kind of grid.
So if I go
I'm
back to,
Welcome back.
My snap is off.
Snap is off. Okay.
Let's try it again. Oops. Come on. Move tool. Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
share
we
my
see your
screen to show that's really weird. I'm gonna share that one. So here I'm. No, it's just stuck.
At the top where it says determine position, I don't know what that is. Can you click that off?
Determine position.
See if that changes anything.
It's still kind
Still
of wants
on?
to snap.
Try the checkbox determined by each drag. Actually, let me just see what mine's on. We'll do something. Mine has nothing checkboxed and determined position is ghosted out.
Are you holding the shift down?
No.
Oh.
There you go. You found out
Okay.
yourself.
Well, I was holding it down really hard. So.
No, I should have
Okay.
explained. That was only to highlight the 3 layers, and now you can move it freely, and all of your layers will follow.
Can I show you mine? I took a picture of mine.
Yeah.
Can you just share your screen? Are you working on a computer?
Let me
No,
unshare.
I'm just gonna show you the picture on my phone, right?
Go for it.
That's mine.
Oh, we can see a little bit, but since it's on a phone, it's got like a bright light, so
Wait.
we can't see it as much.
It's hard to see, but I can see a
I
big
can kind of
glow
see, yeah,
on
a
one
big glow.
side and some little foggy stuff in the middle, which is what you're aiming at.
Yeah, from what we can see, looks like it's going in the right direction. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again, go back to FireAlpaca. Whoops, FireAlpaca has stopped working. Do I want to close the program? I guess I have no other choice.
Oh, you get to start over. Are we going to make another planet?
Sometimes FireAlpaca will have like an autosave, this recover auto-saved image, but it's usually at different spots at the
it looks pretty
progress, but it looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and save right now. File, I got to save as this is a JPEG. Month 2 Galaxy, that sounds good. And we are good to go. So there's our planet review. You know how to make a planet. Now we're going to make a planet with a ring around it. So let's follow those same steps that we did. We're going to need a circle. How do we get a circle? My favorite way is using...
Betsy.
Yeah.
I have to go eat.
Okay. Enjoy your food.
Thanks for coming in.
So I've got my circle. I make sure I'm on the pen so that I get a nice crisp outline. I like to use a color that's different from my sky just to start out with. I want to make it a different size than my first planet, so I'm going to make this one a little smaller. Whoops, except I can't because my planets layer is on Protect Alpha. I'm going to work on my same 3 layers. We have planets, shadow, and glow, so I'm just going to go back to my planets layer and add to that. Turn off my grid. I need to fill it up, so I use my paint bucket set to layer. Then I can go ahead and change the color. I like to use Control U so I can slide this around and get something, oh, maybe a blue one, but maybe a little bit darker. So I'll take down my brightness.
Ah, oh, I see. That's nice. Okay.
And when I add my second color, I have to be sure to turn on that Protect Alpha so that I can protect the shape of my circle. I go down to my airbrush And I choose a color that is slightly different. Maybe wildly different if it's an alien planet, who knows? And I'm going to lightly doodle on some different colors. Just splotch it kind of everywhere. Using firm pressure to make it more opaque and lighter pressure to make it a little more see-through, a little more transparent.
Did you protect, that one is Protect Alpha, isn't it?
That
Oh,
one is
yes, it
Protect
is.
Alpha,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
And then to make the ring, I am going to make a new layer just so that I can keep it separate from my planet. I'm going to call that one Ring. And I'm going to need an ellipse, so I'm going to grab my ellipse tool. I'm going to change the color so you can see what I'm doing more easily. So I'm going to change it back to yellow. And I'm going to make a ring of any kind of size, but I want the oval to stay kind of flat and not do that. So I'm going to give myself a flattish oval. Whoops, not on clipping. Let's move that one up. So the order of my layers is going planets on the bottom, then shadow, and then the ring should not have the clipping arrow on it. So that when I draw my ellipse with my pen tool, I can draw the whole thing. The whole thing should appear. And because it's on its own layer, I can move it to wherever I want the ring to be. Let me know if there's any troubles getting to this part.
Okay, I'm still making.
Still making the clouds?
Yeah, still clouding up my.
That's fine. I'll just pause here. It's only 4:30. We got plenty of time.
So we have sort of two colors of clouds, as I recall. Yeah. After that, you added a new layer to be the ring, right?
New layer. It might pop up in between your planets and your shadow layer. You want to move it above your shadow layer.
But we haven't actually done the shadow layer yet.
No, that was left over from our first planet.
Okay. Ring. Ring is not overlay or anything. It's just
nope,
ring.
Just normal. It's a ring. You want to use your pen tool so you'll have a nice sharp edge.
And ellipse.
And I use the ellipse.
Oh, so you weren't using the snap tool then? You used the ellipse.
Mm-hmm. Use this one up here.
Ellipse, nice big. Okay.
And once you get it into the position that you like, we're going to duplicate the layer. That's that little icon that looks like two pieces of paper. I hit that and all of a sudden I've got two rings. It looks like nothing's happened because they're right on top of one another. But if I try to move one, oh, there it is. I can see that I have two of them. I want to shrink this one. Control T for transform. And I want to put it on the inside of my first ring. And we're looking for a space that is bigger in front and smaller in the back. So I don't want to do this where they're kind of even all the way around. I want to make it so that it's a little skinnier in the back, a little wider in the front. We also want to make sure that this smaller one on the inside still has a gap in between the planet and the ring. If it does this, it's not going to go around your planet, right? Because it's overlapping it. So we want to make sure that those two things are being done. The spacing is different, was our first task. And then second, we have some spacing on the sides. Once your two rings are in the right position, you can use this little down arrow button that's right by the trash can, or you can press Control E, E like elephant, and that will make those two layers become one layer. And now you can move this around wherever you want it on your planet. And we need to fill in these rings. So I'll go to my paint bucket, make sure it's on layer. And just like what we do with our planets, I'm just going to fill it up. There might be a spot where your paint bucket can't reach. You just get your pencil, make sure it's on your pen mode, whoops, and on freehand mode. And we'll just fill that little bit in hand by hand. Oh no, actually don't, because we'll be erasing that. Anyway, I'll pause there until you get your front filled in. Then we can erase the back together. All right, so we've got our ring. We could zoom in and try to erase it by hand. The problem is when you're erasing by hand, you'll almost always, whoops, go too far. So a way to get around that is I'll go back to my planets layer and I'll get my magic wand tool. I want expand set to 0. And I could try to click on my planet, whoops, but what happens is that because we have those color variations, it's going to not work. So instead I'm going to click the outside, whoops, and change it to layer. And there's my circle. But right now it's selecting the space, not the planet itself. So I'm going to go select inverse. And now when I take my eraser and change my layer, I got to change my layer back to ring. It won't let me erase outside of that selection. So I can very confidently go right up to the edge. It won't erase too much. And when I'm done, I hit Control D, D for deselect, and we have the perfect meeting of the ring and the planet.
Okay, go back.
Sure.
I,
Control Z, 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 Z.
I've got my magic wand
Got our magic wand on the planet's layer.
on the planet layer,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Gonna-
touch outside,
Outside,
and it made this little line.
a little line. Is the reference set to layer or canvas?
It's set to layer.
Set to layer, okay. How about your
gonna-
tolerance? Is your tolerance up?
I expand to 0. Is that the top? Tolerance is 1.
Try moving it up to like 55 and see if that makes a difference. If it doesn't, I'll need a screen share.
Well, that worked. Okay, so I did that, then I inverse.
Mm-hmm. We're going to inverse, so we can go to select, inverse, or you can hit Control Shift and I.
And
When
then
that
I
happens-
erase.
Mm-hmm. But you got to switch layers to the ring layer, otherwise you're going to erase your planet.
Okay, ring layer. That's good, thank you.
Get rid of all that in the back. Leave the one in the front.
Okay, so I still have my ellipse. Go back to freehand erase. Yes, that works better. And oh, that's so easy. Okay, that was easy.
Yeah, so then we can go ahead and choose the actual color if you haven't already. And again, it's the same thing. Control U for hue. And I can slide my slider around and find whichever color I think is the best for my ring. Or I can even use some of my color language and think, oh, blues and greens, they're very calming. Maybe I'll stay with calming. Kind of like just this aqua, but it's a little bright. I'll just take the brightness down. Maybe something like that. So we've got our ring color, and now we are going to start adding the shadows. So for the planet itself, we already have our shadow layer. To get my shadow, I'm going to select my drawing tool, get my airbrush option, make it almost as big as the planet. Grab a dark color from out in space. And I'm going to start spraying right on my planet. It won't affect the ring. We'll have to do a different layer for that, but right on my planet, start making that dark.
Now, what layer are you on?
The shadow layer that we used for the previous planet.
And it is clipped.
Yes, it is already clipped for us.
Airbrush.
Mm-hmm.
And is this the one where we would airbrush with the one as big as the
Yes,
planet? Okay, almost as big as the planet.
that'll give you a nice soft edge.
And airbrush. Okay. I'm on the shadow, so I'm below the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that's a pretty dark color. Come on, why don't I see it? Oh, more. Oh, it's past the peak.
And I'm going to do the same thing for the ring layer. Make a new shadow layer. I'm going to call this ring shadow. Clip it. And then I'm going to just shade on the side that's the dark side of the planet. And maybe just a little bit on this inner edge here. There's my before and there's my after.
Well, I can't see any difference. I'm working away here and nothing's happening. I'm on the shadow layer. I've got
All right, did you make a new
And-
layer? A new layer for the ring?
I'm still trying to get the shadow on the planet.
Oh, on the planet. Let's go back to the planet. So it's just clipped and not protected?
Clipped, protected. How would I protect it?
You don't want it protected. Protected means you can't draw anything
Oh, bingo. Okay.
new.
All right. Oh, look at that. Too much. Now I was making it really, really dark. Now I don't want it to dark. Oh yeah, that's much nicer.
And then our last effect is the glow. It's
Now,
already
wait,
set up. Oh, go ahead.
I just leaped to ring. Now I'm going to add a new layer and clip that and shadow that. I'm using the very same shadow.
Yes, exact same color, and you can just color the same dark side. If mine was on the left, so I colored the dark side on the left.
And a tiny bit on the other.
And a tiny bit behind. Yep, right there.
Okay. All right, and then we need to go to our glow layer.
Yep, and this is exactly the same. I'm going to pick my pure white up in my upper left corner of my color picker. And take the size down on my airbrush, and you can start putting it anywhere on the ring itself, on a little bit on the planet. If it's getting too much, like too strong, you just go to your opacity, that second bar in your brush control, and you can take that down so that it doesn't come out so fast. If we were using an actual, like say, spray can and oh, it's coming out too fast, you can just take that number down and you can build it up more slowly if you want to have
And the glow is not protected, right?
Glow is not protected. Nope, it's going to bleed out into space.
Like that.
Just like that. Yep. If you need your brush to be smaller to get like a smaller highlight on the planet, you can shrink it down. Sometimes I like to put a little bit of reflected light, whoops, on the other side of my planet here. So I just do a few gentle strokes. You can barely see it probably. When you click that glow layer on and off, then it becomes really apparent where it's starting to add some lights in our darks. And the great thing is if you back up and you go, oh, actually that green doesn't really work in my painting here, then you can still go back to the ring layer, Control U, start sliding it back and forth, and all your shading, all your glow will still be there. And you can just change the hue to something else. I kind of like that gold after all. Oops, where was it? There we go. Take down the saturation maybe. We're still technically working on the background, so I don't want anything to stand out too much. I want to keep my brightest colors for the spaceship that we'll be doing next week. And we have about 10 minutes left. So if you would like to try to do one more planet on your own, or just make a second ring and make like an X around your planet, you can go ahead and try it. As usual, I'm going to let my dog out of the room because it's almost her dinner time.
Oh, hey.
Welcome back.
I've been here, but I was gonna say, oh yeah, are we getting towards the time when the recording goes off?
Yep, we just got 3 more minutes. And then recording off.
Yeah, because I've been working on something the past couple days.
Cool. Just about 2 more minutes and then we'll wrap this up.